Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, JEONG SINAH, and today we're going to be doing a 2v2 battle. I'm going to be the green Confederate player, and my ally is going to be a random partner. They're going to be the blue Confederate player. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to be facing off against two very strong resistance players. The yellow player is Ina. She is a YouTuber with an 80+% win rate and a medal. And the red player is a rank 19 player who is a rank camper with a 22% win rate. So this is going to be an extremely tough matchup. So we can see as the battlefield is kind of unfolding here, we have lost naval control very early on. And we can see I'm trying to go for HQ3 here. There's already a gator at my base doing some early aggression, trying to take out some of my critical infrastructure here. So as you can see with my boosting, I'm actually not using gold boosts. That was because originally I wasn't sure if I wanted to fully commit to gold boosting or if I wanted to just do a mix of gold and red boosts. It's always a gamble when you go with random partners. Now I'm getting a scout here on both yellow and red. We can see that both yellow and red are already teching up to HQ4, and I am still HQ3 at this time. So both yellow and red are full on gold boosting, no doubt about it. We can see my allies actually got some really good infrastructure. They got a lot of supply centers. We can see these coyotes from Ina coming in to scout my base here. I am just starting to tech up to HQ4 now. I've only got a handful of ground troops now for defense. I'm going to move my ground troops to the front, and we can see that there's some early aggression from the red player. We see snipers and a mole in play here. So I've got fire assaults, a torrent, and some hammer tanks, and I'm going to be able to take care of this attack here. But this is kind of a weird composition of units to send. So I think yellow and red were trying to do contracts, was my thought. We can see there's more snipers coming in now. My hammer tanks are going to move in to take care of these snipers. And we can see there's now some dragonflies coming in from the yellow player. I have to pull my hammers back. I don't have any dedicated anti-air to take care of those dragonflies, so I need to move my ground army back. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and try to get some heavy assaults out. We can see that I've got a Zeus tank with its missiles, but that's not going to be enough. So I'm going to get some heavy assaults, and we can see the heavy assaults are dishing out damage, and we're going to be able to take out those dragonflies. So we're still in a tough position here. I'm not trying to fully commit here. I'm trying to save my gold supply boost. We can see red is trying to move an attack force towards my base. They've got a Leviathan and some armadillos in the mix there. So I don't have any typhoons out yet, or don't have enough at least. We can see armadillos now moving in. My ground troops are supported by a shield generator, so their effectiveness is going to be increased significantly. Meanwhile, yellow and red trying to do a combined assault at the side here. Here comes the Leviathan from the red player. So now I'm trying to move my troops in to take care of this other side assault. And this is going to be the first of many nuclear missiles that hit us. We can see that nuclear missile takes out all of my infantry, except for the ones under the shield generator. We can see that the Leviathan is now trying to pull back. A mole has come back into play. Red has produced another mole so quickly. Now we're just trying to fight it out with the mole and the Leviathan. Those Leviathans taking so much damage. Armadillo's now moving back in from the red player. And we can see that my ally is sending some help. He's got a typhoon in play here. I've still got the shield generator going, but I need to pull back. I don't have the forces to continue pursuing. I'm slowly starting to get some anti-air to counter the Leviathan in play here as I gradually increase the number of Zeus tanks on the battlefield. So I'm trying to get this Leviathan to just leave me alone, just so I can actually produce my army and maybe make an assault on the red player down the line. I'm low power at this point. I need to produce another power plant to replace it. I'm on an emergency measures boost right now just to optimize building defense and power as needed. So we can see they're getting another scout onto our base here. I'm going to try to produce some more units here just to grow the size of my ground army. Looks like my ally is going to launch an assault. My ally's got full Zeus here and a couple shield generators, so this is a very strong ground army. But we can see that the yellow player, Ina, has a million grenadiers. Here comes some hawks. And this is going to be a tough matchup. Ina loves her grenadiers. I've played her multiple times, beaten her a couple times, and also lost a couple times. But Ina loves those maxed out grenadiers, and there are tons of grenadiers in play here. And we can see the grenadiers starting to wear out those Zeus tanks. Those hawks also dishing out some steady damage against the Zeus tanks. My ally did not produce any typhoons whatsoever and is now paying the price for that. These Zeus tanks are getting cleaned up by the hawks and the grenadiers combined, and it looks like this assault is not going to be successful. So this is not looking good for us. We're almost 20 minutes into the game. Both of us are not doing so great. We're just constantly trying to repel these assaults from the resistance side. Leviathan back in play here, along with some armadillos and snipers. I'm trying not to get too close here because I don't want to get nuked again. Looks like another nuclear missile is going to come out though. Here comes the nuke. This time the nuke doesn't hit my army though, so that's good news for me. Leviathan now trying to move in to dish out damage against the typhoons. And we can see that the armadillos and snipers are trying to draw fire, trying to pull my ground army in. I've got a lot of Zeus tanks in play here though, and there's a couple typhoons in the area, so the nuke has been launched. It should be safe to go back in. So here come my Zeus tanks. We're going to press an assault, and we're going to be able to clean up these ground troops no problem with the Zeus tanks and the fire assaults mixed together. So at this point, I'm almost at a full HQ4 army. We can see that there's another nuke coming in. This time it's Ina's Leviathan. So another 2 Leviathans in play on the battlefield. There's a full chameleon army with grenadiers in play. My ally is trying to defend with Zeus tanks and a shield generator. Meanwhile, I'm moving my ground army onto the plateau to get some map control. And we can see that there's pressure from the grenadiers exerted onto the Zeus tanks. However, the yellow player is not going to be successful with this attack. Meanwhile, I'm moving my ground troops now, and I'm able to maybe come in from behind from those armadillos, but Zeus tanks are not fast enough to chase those armadillos. Those armadillos are going to get away. I'm still producing units though, so my units are going to encounter these armadillos. I need to take care of those armadillos. My ally flags the front of the red player's base and says that there's most likely mines, so a possible camping strategy being employed, considering that red's using a lot of armadillos, so we could see a lot of mines potentially. So I'm going to use a gold common defense boost here just to protect my buildings as much as possible. I'm going to flag my ally's army. I'm going to tell him to move his army. Snipers coming in from the red player. I'm going to clean up those snipers from the red player with my fire assaults. And we can see there's a lot of snipers in play here. I could keep chasing the snipers, but I really don't want to yet. My army's not fully in position yet, and my ally is not in position yet. Here comes a ton of hawks, and we can see that I just do not have enough anti-air. I've got the shield generators though to protect my Zeus tanks. Those hawks are targeting down both my Zeus tanks and the shield generators. So I don't have any anti-air. Those typhoons got cleaned up, so I need to move my army back. Here comes the Leviathan back at it again. It looks like my headquarters did get nuked by the yellow player, but yellow's Leviathan is going to go down. So my ally now moving their full ground army in. Here comes the hawks trying to clean up my headquarters, but I was able to save the headquarters last minute by repairing it. I've got a gold air raid boost on as well, and with that I was able to keep my tier 5 headquarters alive. So here comes my troops as well as my allies' troops. We are now in position to launch a ground assault. So here we go. We can see those walls, barracks, some units. Red's got a Leviathan and a mole as well, so this is a narrow choke point defensive line. I don't like this at all. It's one of the things I don't like about this map. Really hard to attack through those choke points. Here comes another nuclear missile from the Leviathan. You can see my Zeus tanks are heavily damaged. One thing that I wish that my ally had coordinated a little bit better with me was moving the shield generators up a little bit further to protect my Zeus tanks. That would have helped significantly with keeping our forces alive. Here comes a ton of Hawks. They're just dishing out a ton of damage against our troops here. We've got a couple Typhoons in the mix, but it's not going to be enough to keep the Zeus tanks fully alive. We get a full gold boost going for a vehicle attack boost, trying to push an assault onto the red player's base. We can see that we're starting to get into some of the critical infrastructure here, but red is most definitely on a gold common defense boost and probably has pretty well upgraded bases considering that they are a rank camper. We can see red is now dropping down a ton of barracks to serve as meat shields to protect the infrastructure. And we can see that yellow is now starting to pour in those grenadiers and Hawks combined together, just dishing out tons of damage against our troops here. We're trying to continue to press into the base, but we just do not have enough forces left in the area to keep pressing. So at this point, my ally tells me to fall back. I'm only down to a handful of Zeus tanks and Typhoons. My last shield generator gets cleaned up, and it's not looking good on our end. We're going to need to wait it out. So my ally potentially seeing if he can launch an assault here, but it looks like there's a chameleon army just waiting at the top of the cliff there for my ally, and those grenadiers are in mass trying to dish out damage against the Zeus tanks. There's are so many grenadiers. Something I've been noting with my ally's gameplay is I really think my ally would have much more success if he just mixed in like a handful of fire assaults. We can see the difference here. I've got a handful of fire assaults mixed in. It is making my army so much more effective against this chameleon army filled with grenadiers. The Leviathan here launches another nuke onto the army here, and we're just taking so much damage. The Leviathan does go down though, so I think I've lost count of how many Leviathans we've killed at this point in the battle. My ally is throwing down a ton of bunkers just to protect the flank of the base there. And we're going to go ahead and retreat here. I just don't have enough troops to keep pushing. So I'm going to go ahead and regroup on the top of this plateau here. Those bunkers are going to finish for my ally, and my ally is still keeping that entrance to their base covered. So I've got more reinforcements now grouped together, and my allies arrived with reinforcements as well. I'm going to get those Typhoons set up at the top of the cliff for anti-air defense. And here we go, we're launching another assault onto the red player's base. We've got fire assaults, Zeus tanks, shield generators, and Typhoons for anti-air support. This is a very strong army, and we're trying to see if we can break the front lines here. And we're starting to slowly make our way through the red player's base, but it is an absolute grinder to get through. There are so many grenadiers in the mix and chameleon fog in the mix, and these buildings are super tanky. So we're slowly starting to get closer to the headquarters. If we can take out the headquarters, that's going to really help us out here and keep red from making any more units. We see a massive dragonflies coming in. Here comes a nuclear missile, and the missile takes out a ton of my allies' base. And here comes Ina with a huge ground army of grenadiers and vehicles and chameleons. My ally is in trouble. He has no power, no production left. Meanwhile, we're trying to push our ground assault here through the red player's base, and this is looking tough right now. We've taken out the headquarters though, so no more unit production for red, but now looks like my ally too has no production structures. There's no way to produce units for my ally either. He's only got a handful of Zeus tanks, and that's not going to cut it against those grenadiers. So I'm trying to produce fire assaults and Zeus tanks at this time to go and reinforce my ally to see if we can break the siege. But here comes two more Gators and another Leviathan. I can't tell you how many Leviathans I've seen in this replay without going back to rewatch the footage. There's just so many Leviathans and so many tactical nukes. We can see another tactical nuke. There it is. Does a ton of damage against my headquarters. I throw in a gold common defense boost. I'm trying to get rid of those Gators and the Leviathans. Meanwhile, our Zeus army is just crushing the last bits of Red's base. But I don't think Red's quite out of it yet. Bad news on our side though, we just lost the headquarters for my ally. So my ally's literally just down to supply centers. It's not looking good for either of us. So we're starting to break through the last little bits here. On my end though, I am in huge trouble. I have no way to put down a new headquarters. I have a reserve HQ, but I really just don't know where to put it. Zeus tanks are now moving in onto the yellow player. Yellow's just endlessly streaming in grenadiers trying to stop our ground army. Meanwhile, a handful of grenadiers and porcupines here are steadily dishing out damage against my ally. So this is turning into a base race here. We're trying to see if we can finish the yellow player before the resistance side can finish both my base and my ally's base. Again, one thing I really don't like about this map is that you can see like the two spawn points where my ally's base is and where my base is. And for me, I don't like where my base spawns because I just feel like there's no good place to expand. I really think this battle would have turned out differently if I actually had room to expand and if it wasn't a naval map where we lost naval control so early. We can see that we're trying to continue to press through. We've taken out some production structures, but there's so many grenadiers. Another nuclear missile hits the base. So I used the wrong boost here. I was trying to hit the reserve HQ boost, but it hit the reconstruction boost. So I'm out of reconstruction boost. And we can see that Zeus tanks still trying to make their way through. This Leviathan though is just wreaking havoc on my base though. I have nothing to counter the Leviathan at my base. If I were to maybe do this battle again, I would maybe move my 5 Typhoons back, but even then, I don't know if that would have cut it. Leviathans are so tanky, and they've got that tactical nuke, which is so strong. Zeus tanks now moving in. My Zeus tanks are moving towards the very end of the base, knowing that yellow is most likely going to try and build away from the center of their base to buy time. My ally flags the bottom of the map there. We can see that red's actually starting to rebuild back into the game. We cannot let red get back into the game. This is tough. We're not in a great position to move efficiently across the battlefield because Zeus tanks are pretty slow, and we're really tight on the timeline. Red is rebuilding in super quickly. They've got triple barracks, supply center, and a couple sniper towers already. I'm going to throw on a gold common defense boost, just trying to keep my units firepower as high as possible while also trying to keep my buildings alive as long as possible. I've got 2 fire assaults and a torrent in the area. Those are units I forgot to micro, but they're now coming in handy. So we split our army approach. This Leviathan now just wrecking the last bits of my base. There goes another nuclear missile. It was really frustrating. Did not have any effective anti-air deployed because I felt like I didn't have the resources to do so. So we can see we've been able to squash the last bits of red's ability to produce units, but we do have to kill off these structures, and every single building counts. We can see that on both sides we're running out of structures, and yellow is just seemingly continuing to endlessly produce structures. This is ridiculous. We can see that there's that extra HQ, a construction yard, and who knows how many extra buildings. We see another construction yard there. We see a barracks, and really, like, time on our side is just starting to run out. This is not looking good for us. There's too many buildings here. We don't know if we're gonna make it. So I gotta move my Zeus tanks back up. We can see that we are literally just down to 3 torpedo platforms and a power plant. That is not gonna cut it. And here we go. Last bits here of the fight. Can we finish these buildings off before the resistance side finish off our buildings? This is really not looking good. We're just down to 3 torpedo platforms. Even though torpedo platforms have anti-air, my platform is stock. The anti-air is terrible, and we can see it's doing practically no damage to that Leviathan. And here we go, last little bits here. We're just down to the last few structures here. And here comes a nuclear missile, and that's game over. We lost this one. Hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one.